Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 3:09 a.m. on this freezing Saturday evening going into Sunday. It is currently, it says it's 48 degrees outside, but it feels colder than that. I am not ready for winter. I'm not ready for winter, but I am ready for a Diet Coke. So let's get right into this Diet Coke. They're already putting up the billboards for Indy Screen Park. Does it say 8 or 6 attractions? 6 attractions, 1 location for the biggest haunted house in Indianapolis. I won't be going to that. But usually every year, Melissa and Jason, Alex, Aaron and Eric, they all go. And that's like one night that I like meet them up for dinner afterwards or something. I don't usually go to all that because it scares me too much. I can't handle it. Oh my Lord. Well, let me tell you about my day. First of all, when I got done vlogging last night, I listened to a ton of my audiobook. I almost finished it. And I had to go to the bathroom, so I came home. I should have started putting up my vlog then, because my vlog is taking so long to put up every day. I don't know why, but I didn't. So I went to the bathroom, and Alex was still up, and so I went upstairs. He was watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in bed with the dogs. And so I talked to him for a second, and I said, I think I'm just going to lay down for like a half an hour, and then I'm going to go finish my book, because I was so into my book, which is the second one in the Josh Lanyon Cozy Mystery series. The first one was Pirates at Murder Cove, and I'm like so into it that I wanted to finish the book yesterday and then start the third one. So I was like, I'm just going to lay down for like a half an hour. Well, I woke up today, but I was so cozy. I think I've decided that my favorite place in the entire world is in bed with my husband and my dogs. It's just so cozy, and I love it so much. So anyway, got up today. Alex is planning his couple's baby shower for the couple that we went to Florida with, but he's planning it with the wife that went with us. So he went over to their house because they live real close to us. And, oh, you know what? I wanted to turn here. He went over to their house to, like, plan it. And he was like, I'm really tired. He was like, I don't know what is going on. He slept a lot last night. He was like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, but I feel exhausted. And he was going to go over and hang out with his mom afterwards. So when he got done, I was filming videos. I filmed videos, like, all day today. I went and got my coffee. And then I did a review at White Castle, and then I went to Michael's, the craft store. I had a fun day today filming videos. And then I filmed a drama video, a Peterisms video I filmed outside, and I filmed a booktube video. So I filmed a video on all of my channels today. And because I wasn't sure I wanted to film tomorrow, I was like, well, I might take tomorrow off and just hang out at home with Alex and listen to some audiobooks and stuff like that. But anyway, in the midst of me filming, Alex called and he said that he was going to go to Chick-fil-A and he was going to get something to eat. And so he stopped on the way home because it was like the only thing that was like real convenient. And so he stopped and he came home and he ate. And it was real weird. We're having like, okay, weird stuff happen in our house. And our TV had like gone out and it said that the plug was unplugged. And I'm like, okay, we were just watching TV and then the plug goes unplugged. And so like Alex, he was like trying to figure it out. And I said, well, maybe it's like when he pulled up the TV, it said something was like disconnected. So he went behind there and he was like, he said, oh, the the plug was just loose. It had come out. And I go, oh, how is that possible? I said, we've had this TV for 10 years, okay? The cable box has been set up to it for 10 years. All of a sudden, it just comes out one day. And of course, you know, I'm like, conspiracy, spirits, ghosts, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there. And Alex's bag, he had just bought this new bag in Las Vegas for work, and it is like tall and boxy, and it has these straps on it, and it's been sitting there since we got back, and one strap is kind of like sits up, and it's like, I mean, it's like hard leather, right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, so I'm talking to him, and we're kind of laughing about it, and he goes, maybe it's a ghost, maybe you brought a ghost back from that haunted museum in Las Vegas. And I said, I'm just saying weird stuff's happening around here. I said, don't joke about it. And he goes, ooh, maybe it's a ghost. And as soon as he said that, I'm like looking forward, looking straight ahead, and the strap on the leather bag falls down. Like, it had been sitting up, you guys, for 3 days straight, and it just fell to the side. Like, I'm like, I go, Alex, I go, your strap on your leather bag just fell down. He was like, oh, is it the ghost? I go, I've been looking at it for 3 days while I've been sitting here. I didn't move the table. I did nothing. It just, all of a sudden, it just fell over. Like somebody had pushed it over. Weird stuff like that's been happening since we got back from Las Vegas. So, but like, it almost kind of feels like if it was, and I totally believe in that stuff. Y'all know I do, okay? That's why I wore my black tourmaline and the crystal and my St. Christopher medal and my cross when we went to that museum, because I was like, I'm not trying to bring anything home. But if it is something like that, it feels like they're like joking with us. It's like little stuff that they just like, it's almost like something wants our attention or something. I don't know. Anyway, now it's 51 outside, but I have the heat pumping in here because it is so cold outside. So at one point I was filming my booktube video, and my neighbor across the street that I talked to about Cozy Mysteries, she came out. She was getting ready to take a walk, so you could hear her in my video talking in the background, my booktube video, which that was like so cute, because then she came out there right at the time that I was doing that. I have the nicest neighbors, I really do. You know, they drive me crazy a little bit with the HOA stuff, and some of the neighbors that, like, I don't know real well, but, like, my neighbors that are, like, in our close vicinity, like, the ones to our right and left, and the ones across the street, like, the two across the street, we have, like, such a great little corner right there. They're so nice. I feel very blessed to have them as neighbors. So that was that. And then Alex got done eating, and I was like, what are you going to do? And he was like, I'm going to, unpack, because we hadn't unpacked yet, and he was like, then I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna see my mom for a little bit. And I said, okay. So I said, well, I'll come up and unpack too, and whatever. And I hadn't really decided if I was gonna go over or just let him spend some time with his mom. And so I was like uploading videos still, and I was getting all that stuff done, and so I came upstairs to start unpacking, and I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm laying in bed, I don't feel well. And I was like, well, what's wrong, babe? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, I feel real dizzy. He was like, I feel nauseous. And he was like unpacking, but then he just like stopped, and I was like, are you okay? And I said, babe, why don't you just lay down and go see your mom tomorrow if you don't feel good? He was like, yeah, I already texted her and told her I was gonna come tomorrow instead of today. He was like, I don't know what is wrong. He was like, I don't know why I feel sick all of a sudden. He like felt real nauseous and dizzy. So I said, well, just lay down, because I said, you don't need to get sick right now, and just take care of yourself and rest. I think he's just tired. Like, you know, he didn't really get to rest a lot when we got back from Las Vegas, and I did. And he's just been kind of like running ever since then and like pushing himself. So I was like, just relax and rest. So I unpacked, I got rid of all my stuff, put in a load of wash down in the basement, which is now in the dryer, and I gotta like run another cycle of the dryer so I can fold it. I should have done that before I left. And I even thought about running down there, and I was like, I'll just do it when I get back. But anyway, so I got all my unpacking done, put my suitcase in the basement. He put our carry-on suitcases away in the closet upstairs. That's where we keep them. And then he like emptied his carry-out on, and then he lay down, and I got all my stuff done, put all my shoes away and everything. And I turned on like the thunderstorm sounds for him. And he was like out like that. And that was at probably like 8:30, and he's been sleeping ever since, poor guy. I don't think he felt good at all. So anyway, hopefully he'll feel better tomorrow. He was like, well, maybe I ate something bad. And I said, well, what did you eat besides, because he got like chicken nuggets or fingers or whatever and some fries. He was like, that's all I've eaten today. I had hummus and pita chips, and then these crackers that I like, and I watched true crime videos on YouTube while I was uploading videos, and a little bit of a churro cookie from Crumble Cookies. That's what I ate while I was uploading videos on YouTube. So then when I got done at about 9:30, I was like gonna call Tanya to see if she wanted to go get a fountain pop or hang out, but I remember that she told me last night that one of the girls that has worked at her kennel for like 10 years, and like in the last 2 years, like off and on, because she works someplace else full-time, but she still works for Tanya part-time. She's so sweet. When Pee-Pee passed away, she made this little cup for us, this like coffee cup thing that has Pee-Pee's picture in it. She like ordered it online. Anyway, I love her. She's fantastic. And she and Tanya are real close, but she's moving out of state with her boyfriend, and so the going away party was tonight, and so Tanya had told me last night that she was going to that tonight. It was like a family thing, I think. That was tonight, and then Tanya has something that she's doing tomorrow too, so I don't know what I can't remember what she said she's doing tomorrow. So I went upstairs after all my videos were done, and I got into bed like right at like 9:40, and I set my alarm for 11:40. I was like, oh, a 2-hour nap will be fantastic. That'll be awesome, right? And I woke up at like 2 in the morning. Well, actually, I woke up at 1 something. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I slept this hard. And Boo and Tucker were like standing looking at me, and they were like just getting readjusted. And so they moved around, and they both got like real close to me. And when they did, I was like, oh, this is so cozy. I love my dog so much. So then I was like, well, I think I'm gonna sleep just a little bit longer. So I went back to sleep. That was like 1 something. No, I think that was at like 1 something, yeah. So then I woke up like right at like 2, or it was like, I think it was 1:50 I woke up, and I was like, okay, I need to get out of this bed. So before, I think I woke up at like right at like 1 o'clock or something. But anyway, so I got up and I threw on my clothes and went downstairs, and then I started shopping and looking at stuff online. I'm starting to want to do, tell me if you do this, okay? I'm starting to look for things that like I owned in the past and wanting to like buy them again. I know this sounds crazy. Like there was this watch that my dad got me in high school, and I actually sold it on eBay. It didn't fit me anymore anyway. It was like really small. But he got it for me, maybe it was my 16th birthday. I can't remember. Maybe it was Christmas. Anyway, I loved this watch. And it was a tag watch. And I've been like looking for this watch like everywhere. And I actually found it, and it wasn't too expensive. But then when I started looking at these tag vintage watches from that same like year, like 1990 was what I looked up, I started finding all these other watches that I really liked that came around that same time. I didn't buy one, but I'm kind of just like looking. I look at stuff and look at stuff and look at stuff. I just like to look up stuff, you know? But for our wedding, a friend of ours bought Alex and I each Prada messenger bags. They were like matching Prada messenger bags. Alex still has his, and it's in perfect condition. And his is, what do you call it? Like camouflage. It's really cute. And they came out with this stuff, and then they got rid of it real quick, and they stopped making it. And then our friend bought me one that's green plaid. Well, my car was broken into and the bag was stolen from it. I had it on my front seat, which was stupid anyway. I never leave anything in my car of value anymore. And so the bag was stolen from my car. And that was, God, that's been, I think that was before I even was on YouTube. So that's been like 6 or 7 years ago now. I was really upset about that. And, so I have been looking forever online for this bag, and I finally found it. I couldn't believe it. So I did order that. And that bag, like, means something to me, because that was, like, the bag that we got, like, for our wedding, and we were really excited, and to have these, like, kind of matching messenger bags. And it's actually a really, really, great messenger bag. I have a black one like this, that's just black and it says Prada on it. That's like it's like they're both they're all canvas. And they're just really good for just like throwing stuff in it. They have a front pocket on there. So for just like running around and stuff, they're great. But this green plaid one is just beautiful and I love it. I looked through all this stuff and I finally found one that was, you know, so when it comes, I'll show you guys that. I'm real excited about that. It's like the icon hat that I lost, that corduroy icon hat. Like, I was so excited when we bought that, and then I left it on a plane. Silly. I can't think of other stuff, though, that, like, there's not a lot of other things that, like, from my past. This is why I don't throw things away. And I know people are like, well, just get rid of it if you don't use it. But for me, like 10 years later, I'm like, God, I wish I had that, you know? There's some things that from my past that I wish I still had, but like I wouldn't like rebuy them again. I had like 3, you know, they probably would be too small for me now, because I think then I wore like a 9.5 and now I wear like a 10.5, 11 shoe. But, like, I threw away all of my Doc Martens at one point because I just wasn't wearing them anymore. I mean, I donated them, but I just was like, I don't wear this stuff anymore, so why keep it around? I had gotten this big, like, hoodie that was, like, this patchwork hoodie that was, like, I bought it in London, and, what's that area of London that has, like, all the really cool stores, like the Doc Marten stores and all that kind of stuff. I bought it in that area of London when my friend and I went. And it's this big hoodie, and I wish I still had that. And for a long time, I swore that I did, that I had it, like, downstairs. My black biker jacket that my friend used like every night that we ever went out, and she used to sneak beers out of bars in it. And when I found it like 10 years later, it had a pack of her cigarettes in it. I ended up giving that to my mom because my mom loved that jacket. I mean, it was like a legit black biker jacket, and my mom wore that. She loved that jacket. And I wish I still had that jacket. I don't know where I have no idea where that jacket went. I can't imagine that I would have donated that. But you know, when my mom, so there was a period where I just like could not go through my mom's closet. Like Alex and I, when we moved in to the condo, well, it was actually before we moved into the condo that this happened. Because when we moved into the condo, like we moved a lot of like her stuff out before that. But we were laying there in bed one night, and so we would come over and stay, you know, like when Alex stayed with me, he wouldn't stay with me in my old apartment. He would stay with me in the condo. And so we would have like suitcases and stuff, or bags, you know, where we'd have our stuff. And one day we were laying there and he said something to me about like, do you think you're ever going to be able to go through the closet and like, you know, give away the stuff that you don't want of hers? And I was like, I remember I just had this complete breakdown, and I was like, I had no idea what I was going to vlog about tonight, but I knew that I was just going to have like all this stuff to talk about. I don't know why. But anyway, I just kind of had this whole total breakdown where I was like, yeah, I don't know. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, I don't know when I'll be able to go through it. I was like, I just can't, like, I couldn't, like, the jewelry and the bags and the shoes and all of it. And my mom had it all displayed. She had, like, her stuff, like, she didn't have, like, she had a lot of stuff, but she didn't have tons, you know? But, like, all of her, like, jewelry and stuff, she had, like, spread out, like, now it's where, like, it's where I keep my t-shirts and stuff, but she had it displayed, like, it was, like a shelf in a store with jewelry. She had it, like, all really nicely laid out and stuff, and there's another area in the back where Alex has, like, shoes and belts and stuff on now. She had that all with, like, jewelry and stuff on it. And so she had it as, like, this display, like, walk-in closet. It was really nice the way that she had it. And I just, for some reason, I was like, I just can't, like, I can't go through it. It was just, like, every time I could smell her on it, and it just was super, super emotional for me. And I don't know what happened, but it was, like, 3 days after that or something. Like, I was just there by myself that day, and I just was like, I used to call them mom day, like, mom days that were, like, just days that, like, I almost could kind of hear my mom in my ear being like, just get rid of it, like, just go through and get rid of it. And I literally just I just took trash bags and I just started scooping stuff up and putting it in there. I mean, to tell you, I threw bags away, very expensive designer bags of my mom's, really nice pairs of shoes, clothes that had never been worn that had tags on them. I literally just bagged this stuff up. I've talked about it on here, but it's been a long time since I have. I felt compelled that day to just get rid of all this stuff. And I just, like, drove it to, like, Goodwill and just, like, got rid of it, like, right then. I just was like, I can't have it here anymore. There were, like, a couple things I saved. Like, my aunt wanted this sweater set that she had bought my mom for Christmas or something. She wanted Caroline to have it, which Caroline never wanted it. And I think, honestly, to this day, I still have it in our coat closet downstairs. It was, like, this light blue sweater set. But anyway, there was, like, this specialty jewelry that I had bought my mom. I put it all in this, like, my mom had this, like, jewelry thing that zipped. That was, like, cloth. I put it in there. And then she had 2 robes. There was a white one. I still have that in the basement. And the other one was, my mom was obsessed with the movie Fight Club. And in the movie Fight Club, she loved the movie Fight Club. And in the movie Fight Club, Brad Pitt wears this robe that has coffee cups all over it, or teacups. And I found this robe from my mom at Talbot's. I don't even know why there. But I found, like, I looked around until I found this exact, I called places and whatever, this exact robe. And I found the exact, so I have the replica of the, that's so funny. I don't know why I think that's so funny. I have it in my basement. I have such a hard time getting rid of that. And that kind of does still smell like my mom, but... And I also saved a bottle of my mom's perfume. And that's really it from that closet. Like, everything else I got rid of. And that day, I tore through that closet and I just got rid of everything. And I was like, okay, I'm getting rid of this to stay. Why was I talking about that? Oh, getting rid of stuff and then wishing you would have it back later. I don't really, like, in retrospect, wish that I had a lot of that stuff. Like, you know, there were things in there, like, I think from, like, a financial point of view, if I had really thought about it and been smart, there were things in there that I probably threw out. Like, my mom had a lot of, like, authentic vintage t-shirts that were probably worth something that I didn't know were worth something at the time. Like concert t-shirts and just t-shirts. She also had, like, I can see them, like, a zip-up knee-high pair of Fry leather boots that were in perfect condition, and she had them since, like, the 70s. It was probably worth something. The designer bags were worth something. My mom never had jewelry that was worth anything. That was one of the things that, like, when she and my dad got divorced, and then my stepmom and my dad got together, like, my stepmom likes really nice jewelry, and my mom would always say, like, I never liked that stuff, like, with, you know, she didn't. My mom liked, like, beatnik, kind of, like, beaded jewelry. She always did, and it was never expensive jewelry that my mom liked, and so, but I kept a lot of that jewelry, and I have since given it a lot away. Actually, it makes me kind of happy because my mom had several pairs of pearls that, like, my grandma had given her and my aunt in high school for, like birthdays and, you know, graduations or I don't know what. And, but my mom had a couple pairs of really nice pearls, and I actually gave Alex's mom has quite a few things of my mom's. I gave, because she and my mom would have gotten along so well, I gave her a really nice pair of my mom's pearls, and she wears those quite a bit. And my mom's neck was too small. I wish they weren't, because now guys are wearing pearls, and I would wear a pair of pearls with like a t-shirt, like a pink t-shirt and jeans. I think that would be a cute look. But my mom, but I can't wear any of them. They're too small for me. But then Alex's grandma has a pair of my aunt's pearls. When my aunt died, we gave like everything to Alex's mom, like Liliana, and Alex's grandma. And it makes me so happy, because like we'll go for like a holiday or something, and Alex's grandma, she's like my aunt's perfect size, and so she wears like all of her St. John suits, and she'll show up and she'll have like some suit of my aunt's on that reminds me of something. Like my aunt used to have this like faux fur trimmed thing, like a jacket. It was like a sweater that she wore with like a skirt, and his grandma wears that sometimes, and it always reminds me of my aunt when I see it. So, and they were so appreciative of the clothes, and my aunt really loved clothes, and she had beautiful clothes. So that makes me happy. Yeah. Caroline's son wears a lot of her dad's stuff, like her dad's sweaters. Like my Uncle Dave always, he would get up and like shower and get ready for the day right away. And he always wore like khakis, a button-down collared shirt, and like a V-neck sweater, like always. Was very much like that writer look, you know? And like author, writer, you know? So David wears a lot of my uncle, because he was named after him too. He wears, and they were like so close. His poppy was like his favorite person in his entire world, and he wears so much of his clothes, like his sweaters, and he's got some flannel shirts of his as well and stuff. And he has like a pipe of his, like you know, like an old pipe that like writers and authors like use and stuff like that. I think that's cool that he uses his stuff. I think it's a way to pay honor, you know, and he meant so much to him, and I don't know. A couple years ago, I asked my dad, when my dad was my age, he wore like boot-cut jeans, fry boots that had a square toe tip. He still wears those boots. He still has them. He's worn them for 40, 50 years. And 40 years at least, since I can remember. And he would wear like concert t-shirts and then like a trucker hat. And I'm talking like an authentic trucker hat that said like Farmers Co-op and stuff on it, right? So it's all just in a box in the closet upstairs in his office. And so a couple years ago I said, Dad, can I have that stuff that you used to wear back in the day? Because I love that style, right? I think that style's hot. And I was like, can I have that stuff? You know, and he was like, you can have it, but it won't fit you. And I was like, what do you mean it won't fit me? He was like, I mean, Peter, he was like a size 30, 32 waist. My dad ran every day. He was running marathons. He was lifting. He was working out. I mean, he's like, it won't fit. He's like, you can have it, but it won't fit you. I was like, what are you saying? He was like, you hear what I'm saying to you? It won't fit you. He was like, but you can have it if you want. Anyway, I never did get it. They've kept all of my stuff from high school, though. I appreciate it, you know. I think a lot of step-parents would just, like, throw that crap out, but my stepmom hasn't. She's been really cool about keeping my stuff that I wanted, like, boxed up in the basement and stuff like that. You know, and she's like, if you want any of that stuff. Well, my dad did ask me about books a couple years ago. He's like, we've got all of these books, and I had at one point looked at them, and they were just, like, paperbacks and stuff that I had since I moved out of my very first apartment or something, and so they had been sitting down there for like 20 years, and I was like, they were like mildewed and stuff. I was like, just pitch them. I didn't even remember what they were, half of them, but I can like see one cover in my head, and it was like The Day After Tomorrow. I don't know why I see that cover when I can see myself opening the box, but it's funny the things that we keep and the things that we can't throw out, you know? I was talking to somebody about this the other day, like, so our HOA, we're not allowed to get a dumpster in our driveway or in our yard or anything like that, and so I don't really know, like, collectively how to get rid of this stuff all at one time, but if I did, like have the ability to get a dumpster. Like, I think I'm at a position where I could like do the basement. It stopped while I was talking about that damn basement. I think I'm in a position where I could do the basement in like a day or something, because, or a weekend at least, because I don't really have a lot of emotional attachment to the stuff down there. And I'm really ready, as we get to a point where we want to redo the house, I'm really ready just to clear it, you know? I was actually standing down there the other day when I was doing some laundry, and I was kind of like looking around, and I was like, yeah, there's like not a lot that gives me a sentimental feeling. The other thing is, a lot of the things down there are like big pieces that need to be like, they're not like things that anybody would take in a donation, but I don't know what to do with them either. Like, I have a Papasan chair from Pier 1 that's like, nobody's gonna want this Papasan chair, you know what I mean? And then I have this drafting table down there, just weird stuff, you know, like that it's like, I don't know what to do with this stuff, you know? Like an old computer monitor, like, I don't know where to like donate that stuff or take it to get rid. If anybody has suggestions in the comment section below, let me know. Like, nobody's gonna want this drafting table. Like, it's ripped and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like anything that anybody's gonna redo and use, I don't think. It's like a piece of office furniture gone bad, you know? It was actually in my dad's apartment when he moved out. It's so funny that I still have it. When he used it as a desk, and I liked that he used it as a desk, so then I used it as a desk in my first apartment, and I've never really used it since then. I've just taken it from place to place to place with me, and now it's in the basement. It's just folded up in the corner, because I don't know where to get rid of it at. We also have some TVs down there. I have the TV, the very first TV that my parents ever had, I have in my basement, with the Betamax and tapes and stuff like that. So see, I just have some like big items like that I need to get rid of. But those, well, first all the little items need to go, and then once the little items go, then the big items can go. But I need to just like box up these books and take them somewhere. I don't really care if I get 1 cent off of them. I mean, I was saying the other day that it's a lot of money that I've spent on these books to not get any money back. I feel that way about the books upstairs more than I feel about the books down in the basement. The books in the basement that are in boxes that are ready to go, like, that legitimately takes up a major part of the basement. Like, there's probably 8 or 10 or 15 boxes of books down there. Like, if I got rid of those, it would literally clear out a major part of the basement. So I just need to get rid of the books, and once I get rid of the books, then I can what do you call it, does anybody know with like half-price books, if you take your books there and then they don't want to buy them from you, like, do they force you to take them back, or can you just give them to them and say, here, you can have them, I don't want them? Because I don't know what I'm going to do if I take these books in there and then they don't want them, you know what I mean? I'm going to have to, you know, lug all like 15 boxes of books back to my basement. I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? So anyway, I need to go by and look at the library thing too, where you donate books. There's a couple different, I just want to like take them and like do it all in one day, you know? So once I do that though, I think like that'll clear up a major part of the basement, and then I can start getting rid of the memorabilia stuff and throw out like this big Christmas tree, like I said, that we have in the basement. Throw that out. See, if I had a weekend and I had a dumpster, I could get that stuff done. We can't even have one of those disposable dumpsters in our driveway. I don't know what they expect people to do. Like, they would lose their minds if they came outside and they saw a dumpster in the driveway. They literally would lose their minds, you guys. So I think tonight I'm going to finish my Josh Lanyon book series, the second book. And then I think I'm going to finish up the podcast that I'm listening to. I think I'm on the 3rd episode of the Kristen Smart podcast. And I thought there was something standing there in the woods. That about scared the hell out of me. Oh my God. Anyway, did you see that? I looked over. I thought there was a person standing there looking at me. Oh my God. Woo! I needed to not go to that Zach Bagans museum. I'll tell you that. And then I was watching this, but then I'm going to listen to that podcast, I think. Be Still My Heart. And I'm coming up, there's Fox Hollow Farms over there, the Herb Baumeister house, which I'll talk about in a second. And I'm coming up in that place where do you remember that cooler was? I thought there was a head in that cooler, like that movie Seven. Anyway, we're coming up on that here in a second. But, Aaron's husband, Eric, sent me this video to watch. It's called Mr. Ballin or something like that, or Ballin, I don't know. He's this guy that does these scary videos. I like him, actually. He gets tons of views on him. But he did this video from like a year ago. He's only been around for like a year, and it's like 1 million views a video. I'm like, how does this happen to people? So anyway, he's like, I'm going to start doing scary videos and stuff like that. And he's like, so anyway, he did this one called Don't Buy This House, and it was about Fox Hollow Farms, and he's in there and he's talking about the people that bought the house, and I'm like, it's real interesting listening to him tell the story, having gone there and had the guy that he's talking about that bought the house give me the tour of the house, and half the things that he's talking about that must have come out since I went to the tour. So supposedly that guy bought the house. He and his friend wanted to like either do tours there, or they wanted to have somebody like make a movie out of it, right? Okay, that's like the backstory supposedly. Like they don't say that, but that's what I've heard on the street, right? Is that that's why they bought the house. So I'm watching this documentary. Well, it was just this video thing about it. And this guy's talking about how the wife saw this guy in a red t-shirt walk into the woods. And then the guy that was in this apartment out back, he saw this guy in the red t-shirt walk into the woods too. Well, I had seen that in a documentary before we even went out to the house. That's in like, I think that's in the documentary, The Haunting of Fox Hollow Farms, which is actually really scary, but very poorly done. That John Lorden, who was in that's how I found John Lorden, actually, John Lorden Arts, who was in that documentary on Netflix about the Cecil Hotel and that girl that went missing. That John Lorden Arts is in a big part of that, so is Stephanie Harlow, but, I actually direct messaged Stephanie Harlow a week or two ago. She messaged me back. We could follow each other and stuff, kind of. She's real sweet, but she, I didn't used to watch her videos, but I've really gotten into her videos lately, because I had watched, okay, let's go back for a second. So anyway, John Lorden Arts did a video on Fox Hollow Farms, okay, The Haunting of Fox Hollow Farms, which is the Herb Baumeister mansion. And he said that the documentary was horrible and all this kind of stuff, which it was really poorly done. But I don't know why, of all the serial killers in the country, nobody cares about Herb Baumeister, the story here. I mean, nobody is interested in it whatsoever. Which is interesting, because I think that he had an accomplice, and I think that that accomplice is still out there. That's just my 2 cents about the whole thing. So anyway, at least on some of them. But some of the information that this guy was sharing, this Mr. Ballin or whatever his name, it's like B-A-L-L-I-N, like Ballin, you know? Some of the stuff that he shared in his video, I had never heard before. About somebody knocking on this apartment door, and the guy would open the door and there was nobody there. And then, I heard about the knife scratches in the kitchen, but where he showed the apartment on the property is not the apartment that the guy lived in. The apartment that the guy lived in is attached to the house. It wasn't the one that he showed in... And maybe he just got it wrong and he didn't know it. But I'm like, there's like a couple different stories going on here. And I don't even know if the couple that live in the house know the real story at this point, right? Like, their stories are getting so confusing. So anyway, there's that. But I watched this Stephanie Harlow podcast that she did. I did not know she was doing a podcast with the guy that won Big Brother. I love that guy. I love him so much that I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, y'all know I'm talking about the guy that was a police officer for a while. It's actually a really well done podcast. But what's funny about it is that they did, well, it's not funny, it's a sad case. They did the case of Lauren Spurrier, who's been missing, I think 10 years now. And I think it was just a 10-year anniversary of her going missing. And so I watched this whole podcast. It was really long. Why can't I think of his name? I feel like it starts Derek. I think his name was Derek. The other host, that one Big Brother. He was on 2 seasons of Big Brother, and no. He won the first one. His friend Cody, I think, came first runner-up, and then Cody won the second one. I like that Cody guy. He seems sweet. Didn't Cody win? I'm almost positive Cody won. That was the Big Brother celebrity season or All-Star season I watched. From now on, I'm going to watch Big Brother because I really missed it this season. I saw people talking about it, and I was like, I really wish I had watched it. I love Big Brother. So, what was I going to say? Oh, so Stephanie Harlow, I'm watching this podcast. I'm laughing because of how they talked about Indiana University, and like Indiana University is known as being like one of the best Midwest academic schools in the country. Like, I mean, their music school is one of the best music schools in the country. The Kelley School of Business is one of the best business schools in the country. I mean, Indiana University is like a really well-known university. And Stephanie and Derek kind of play it off like it's just a party school, which it is 100% a party school. Like, Bloomington is known to be a party school, but just for reference, like in the state of Indiana, like I talk to friends of mine all the time who's like, I don't think my kid can get into IU. Like, you have to have about a 3.8 to get into IU. Like, you can't be like just a partier with like a 1.5 and get into IU. There's no way. Like, IU, like, you legit, anybody that has gone to IU recently, or anybody in the last, I would say 15, 20 years, and anybody that has, you'll quickly get kicked out if you don't keep your grades up at IU. And anybody that's gone can validate this, that IU, like, you have to have pretty good grades to get into IU, and you have to have pretty good SAT scores or ACT scores to get in IU. Like, it's a no-joke school. Like, it's a good school. So that was kind of funny to me. They played it up like it was like one of the top 10 party schools in the country, and it is. But a lot of schools that are highly academic are huge party schools, you know, because I think there's this mentality that is taught of work hard, play hard, kind of, you know. And so it's talking about that. Well, in Indiana, did I talk about this here on the night that I think I may have talked about it on the night that I watched that podcast. Like, there's a lot of, you know, I know a lot of people in that age group, just in recovery, friends of Alex's, that were at IU when it happened. And in Indiana, it's kind of, it's not like there's a lot of speculation about what happened. I mean, it's kind of like, this is what happened, and they just haven't been able to. Is this closed up here? It says detour ahead. Are you kidding me? I can't go down my regular route. What? Oh, it's closed. That road is closed. Road closed to through traffic. It's kind of like the Delphi case. Like in Indiana, like, to be honest with you, I'm not even real comfortable saying this stuff in a vlog living in Indiana, honestly. But like with the Delphi case, it's kind of like, I mean, everybody in Indiana just kind of knows that, like, it has something to do with the family. Like, the family has, like, inside knowledge to what's going on. And, I mean, that is, like, you ask anybody that knows about the Delphi case, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, doesn't that have something to do with the family? Like, didn't the family have something to do with that? And the police are, like, covering it. Like, that's kind of, like, the known story in Indiana about, and everybody talks about Delphi here, right? Well, the Lauren Spurrier case, I mean, that's an even bigger case, and people, like, all over talk about that. The one thing I did think was interesting in the podcast that they didn't talk about was that Israel Keyes, a serial killer from Alaska, and the only reason I know this is because I read the book, he was like, they thought maybe he killed her because, he was in Indiana, like, driving from one place to another when she went missing. And they have video footage of him driving in and driving out on the toll roads. And so they, like, when the FBI was interviewing him and asking him about people that he had killed, and they were, like, throwing down pictures, they threw her picture down, and he tapped it. I can remember listening to this and getting chills, listening to the audiobook. He tapped it, and he said, "You're going to have to pay me a lot more for me to answer questions about that," or something. "You're going to have to give me a lot more," or something like that. Because he wanted, the only way he would talk about these cases is if they would verify for him that he would get the death penalty, because he did not want his, I think he has a daughter, he didn't want her to suffer, and his girlfriend, he didn't want them to suffer, knowing he went on a cruise with, like, his daughter and wife and stuff, or girlfriend, while he had this dead girl in this shed at his house. Like, Israel Keys, that case was sick. American Predator is the name of that book, but it was one of the scariest true crime books I've ever read. He had kill kits set up all over the country. So what he would do is, which was interesting at the Zach Bagans Museum, they had, what's his name? The first book we ever read for True Crime Book Club. Oh, this is where I wish Mel was here. The guy that's real famous, the #1 guy that rode the VW Bug. Why can't I think of his name? Or the glasses. They have his glasses at the museum. But they had his kill kit, too, that had evidence stickers on it. Why can't I think of his name? Stranger Beside Me. That one, that book by Ann Rule. What is going on that I can't think of this guy's name? The confession tapes. I always talk about how I could care less if I ever read anything else about him ever again. That, I can't think of his name. Oh my God. Anyway. He had a kill kit. Well, they had his gloves, his hat. They had his gloves, his glasses, and they had his kill kit that said evidence on it at the Zach Bagans Museum. So I need to call Mel and tell her about everything I saw, because most of all, she's going to be freaked out about the fact that they had Bonnie and Clyde's tackle box there. That was kind of weird seeing that. They had lived off this tackle box for 2 years while they were on, like, you know, getting away from the police. They would fish on this tackle box. They had it, like, sitting out there. That was bizarre. God, why can't, I'm, like, losing my mind. Why can't I think of that guy's name? Oh, I also was shopping on Audible tonight, too, because Tanya told me that I bought the 4th book in this Josh Lanyon series, and then I bought something else. The House of Gucci, because I still need to listen to that for True Crime Book Club. And then it's 16 hours long. I did not realize. I always pick the longest books. And then Tanya told me the Liam Moriarty book, the newest one, the Apples book, she said that was really good, so I got that one too. I think that was it that I bought. Yeah. Anyway, why can't I think of what that guy's name is? Anyway, like with the Lauren Spurrier case in Indiana, like, whenever it comes up in conversation, which, I mean, I wouldn't say it comes up a lot, but, I mean, it's such a sad case. Like, they have never gotten any information about it. You know, I mean, I think that's always the saddest thing with a lot of these. It's like, just for, like, the families to know, like, and have, I mean, I don't know what I think of the word closure, but to have some kind of idea, you know, of what, like, happened. To just have no answers whatsoever, like, for the rest of your life. I just can't even imagine, you know? But here in Indiana, I mean, when people talk about it, that were at IU or knew any of the people that were surrounding it or whatever, it's always just kind of like, yeah, it was other students and they lawyered up real quick. That's what I have always heard. That's what I've always heard. And I don't know about that, but like that in Indiana, that's, and so, anyway, what do I have rolling around back here? Oh, I have the brown one of these that looks like wood. I cannot believe I cannot think of that guy's name, that serial killer. like I need to start taking ginkgo biloba again or something, because I do feel like I'm losing, like I can't remember things at times. I can see him in my head. I can see Zac Efron playing him. I'm like going through the letters in the alphabet, and I know that you guys are all shouting at me. I'm like, Gacy? No. Ted Bundy. I don't know why it took me so long to get that. I got to T. Did you, because you see it working it out in my head. I got to T and I was like, Ted Bundy. God. I don't enjoy reading about him. I don't know why. And you know, when we were at the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, like, I wasn't real interested in seeing that stuff in there. Actually, interestingly enough, because I'm just not interested in this guy at all for some reason, the Charles Manson stuff was the most interesting to me. I think it was because of how much he had of it. He's friends with Charles Manson's grandson, of which I didn't even know Charles Manson had a grandson, but so he's friends with Charles Manson's grandson. And so he has like his shower shoes, and from like being in there, and then he has like bone and ash from like of Charles Manson's bone and ash, like after he died, was cremated and stuff. And his like his robe and pictures, and you guys, it's weird. It's a lot. And then he has artwork from John Wayne Gacy. He has these pictures that are literally like of 3 days before John Wayne Gacy was executed. And it's like him and his like nieces, or I think daughters or something, and they're all like smiling and stuff. And it's like underneath it says like 3 days before John Wayne Gacy was executed, or like the day before or something like that, or 3 days. There's something else from John Wayne Gacy's whatever. Talked about his like I think it's his stepdaughter or Tammy, that somebody is in there working on. Oh, I was like, it's like an emergency unit at a hospital. I'm like, who is at work at 4:01 in the morning at the computer? Jumpin' Jack Flash. Do you remember that movie back in the day with Whoopi Goldberg? I love that movie so much. Oh my god. I should buy that movie on iTunes. I really like that movie, Jumpin' Jack Flash. That's a good movie. What was I gonna say? I'm all over the place tonight, aren't I? Oh, and that true crime. It was just one room. It's not like, well, at Ed Gein, they gave a whole room to. I don't even know why. Because they had this wrought iron cauldron that he would cook the skin in. But then on the wall, this was so weird. On the wall, they had this was kind of where the museum was kind of corny, right? On the wall, they had this skin, and it was all stretched out, and you could tell it was human skin, and it had like a nipple in it. It was gross. And she said, human skin, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, but that's actually not a victim of Ed Gein's. That was somebody that donated their body to science. And I'm like, what? What does that have to do with Ed Gein? I'm sorry. Like, why is that even in this room? Just to reference dried out skin? So really all they have in this room is they've recreated it to look like a barn. And they have his shovel that he would dig up bodies, which who knows if that's even really the shovel. They have the shovel up above, and then they have the cauldron below. Those are the only two things they have in this huge room that they have built. It's like the guy that owned the Bunny Ranch, that Hop guy, who died in Nevada. I don't know where, Lake Tahoe, wherever it was. I don't know, but he died out there. And Lamar, was it? I don't know. That is it. Kourtney Kardashian, is that her boyfriend? Is it him that overdosed in the bed and all this kind of stuff? They have his bed out there because the woman that owned the place after the Hop guy, he was friends with Zach Bagans. She said, come and take the bed. So she's got like the bed and all this kind of stuff. Like that whole setup was really lame too. I like didn't understand it. I mean, there were some things that were very cool in there. And then there were other things like, I don't understand why you even have this at all. You know, like it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I would be kind of like, I'd be scared to death to do it, but I would be kind of interested to do, or to see how you can go in there at night with flashlights and do it completely in the dark. I think that would be kind of scary. There were a couple moments where people jumped out at you. There was this clown section where people jumped out at you. Y'all know I don't like the clowns and stuff like that, but anyway, listen, I'm gonna get off here now, and I am going to finish this book. I'm like wide awake. I'm gonna have such a hard time going back to sleep. I think we haven't been to Patashoot in like weeks, literal weeks we haven't been. So I hope tomorrow we go to Patashoot and have brunch. And Alex has either had something to do on a Sunday or we've been out of town, and it's just been weeks and weeks and weeks since we've been there. So I hope tomorrow we go. I'm gonna get I do know this, if we go tomorrow, I'm not getting a gluten-free waffle. I'm gonna get an omelet and smother it with ketchup, and I'm gonna get a bagel with cream cheese because I am craving that. So anyway, that's it. That's all they wrote, folks. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. Hope you're getting refreshed and rejuvenated and renewed for the week ahead. And relax. There's another R word. And I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!